This is Note Taking Guide 1.8 for Mathematical Decision Making for Life. Today we're going to talk about budgets. So first of all, you guys, what is a budget? Anybody have an idea? What's a budget?
Money that you're willing to spend.
Okay, I like that. The amount of money that you have to spend. Okay. Anybody else have any other ideas to add to that?
The amount of money you have to spend basically like after all taxes and bills and all.
Good. So really from your net pay, right? Because you can't do a budget from your gross pay because you don't have that money. So from your net pay, I like. So let's say, does anybody know what the word allocation means? It means that you kind of tell your money where to go. So I'm going to kind of put that a budget is the way we spend our money. And it's kind of like we tell our money where it's going to go as opposed to our money telling us where to go. Has anybody heard that before, that to tell your money where to go instead of your money telling you where to go? I think that's an interesting thought, because once you get into debt, do you get a choice of where your money goes to? You don't, because you have to actually pay for the debt instead of trying to pay for things that you want to pay for. All right, what's income, you guys?
The amount of money you get.
Yeah, so the money coming in, right? It could be a paycheck. It could be interest on accounts. It could be your grandma sends you $50 for your birthday. It could be anything like that. So money coming in. And the last one, expenses, then it would be the money you spend or the money going out. Okay. So in our nation, someone's come up with an idea of how much money we should spend on each kind of thing that we would probably spend money on. So these are what we call ranges over here. They've come up with the idea that we should spend 25 to 35% of our income on housing. We should spend 5 to 10% of our income on utilities. We should spend 10 to 15% of our income on transportation, and so far and so forth down this chart. So I just want to do a quick example using this chart here, and I just want to say, well, let's say we earn $2,000 a month. What range of money could I spend on housing? Well, how would I figure that out? I would do $2,000 times 25%, which is $500. And then I would do $2,000 times 35%, which would be $700. So if I make $2,000 a month, my housing range should somewhere be between $500 and $700 a month. In St. George, you probably have to make more money than that in order to find housing. Okay. Utilities, if we're going to spend 5 to 10% of our money on utilities, I would do $2,000 times 5%, which is $100 a month. And then I would do $2,000 times 10%, which would be $200 a month. Does that make sense, how we could figure out the range of money we would be spending depending on our income? Yeah. The reason I'm asking you that is because number 1 and number 2 are just like this on your homework assignment, where I give you an amount of money that you're making and you need to find the range of values that you could. The neat thing is about this, after you find 5 to 10%, do we already know what 10% is? It was 200, right? So we could just fill out 200 right here. Then we just have to find 15%. We already found 5 and 10, and then we'll have already found out 5 and 15. So once you get down going through that a little bit, you're going to have all of the answers already. You just have to kind of rewrite them down. So 15%, just to finish out this problem, is $300. And then we could just kind of keep going. We already know that 5% is $100. We already know that 10% is $200. Do you see how easy it's going to be to fill out this chart as you go through? So I'm not going to finish it for you, but there are problems on your assignment where you have to do that, where you have to go through the whole chart and find the range of money that you would be spending on a given income. All right, so now we're going to go and work some examples doing really the same kind of thing, but only one thing at a time. So it says you've worked up a budget and you find that you have $1,500 per month available for all of your expenses combined. According to the spending averages, how much should you spend on rent? Well, and it says give your answer as a range. So housing up there says 25 to 35% is what I should spend on rent. So I'm going to find a range of numbers that I could spend my rent in between. I know I have $1,500. I'm going to first find 25% of that. And then I'm going to find 35% of it also, because that would give me the range that I should have my income for rent is what I should be paying. So go $1,500 and times it by 25%. And so I should spend between $375 and then do 35% and $1,500. And that's $525. So if I only make $1,500 per month, I should be spending between $375 to $525 on my rent or housing expenses. Does that make sense to everybody how I found that? Okay, next one then. A single 30-year-old woman with a monthly salary of $3,200 spends $900 per month on rent. Is she within her budget? Well, what I need to do then is I just need to figure out what her budget should be. We know that rent or housing should be 25 to 35% of our budget. Her budget is $3,200. So we're just going to figure out if she's between the 25% mark and the 35% mark. So we're really just going to find 25% of the number, find 35% of the number, and make sure that her $900 that she spends a month is between those two numbers. So 25% times 3,200 is $800. So she looks like she might be okay. 35% times $3,200 is $1,120. So is the amount of money that she's spending on rent within her budget? It is, because it's between the $800 and $1,120. So my answer would be yes. Okay. Are you seeing how I'm going to do the math today? Is it making sense? All right, next one says, a married couple with combined household income of $45,000 per year spends $700 per month on transportation. Are they within their budget for transportation? Well, how much are they supposed to spend on transportation for their budget? 10 to 15%. So we're going to find 10 to 15%. Now the only problem here is this number is per month and this number is per year. So I need them both per month in order to work with them. So I'm going to take that $45,000 and divide it by 12, which gives me a budget of $3,750 per month. So then I can compare my monthly to my monthly. So I need to find 10% of the $3,750 and see if my number is between 10% and 15% of that $3,750. So 10%, I love 10% because they're easy to do, right? You just have to take a 0 off the end or the last number. So you're $375 at 10%. At 15%, I got $562.50. Hopefully I punched that in right. So is there $700 that they spend a month on transportation? Is it within their budget? It's not, because $700 is not between $375 to $562. So my answer should be no. Questions on how I did that? No? All right, the last one. A retired person, I forgot to put the word person or man or something in there, with a fixed income of $4,200 spends $600 per month on health care. Are they within their budget? Well, again, go back up to the chart, see how much they were supposed to spend on health care. They were supposed to spend between 5 and 10%. So I have to find 5 to 10% of the amount of money that they have for income. Their income is $4,200. So I'm going to do $4,200 times 5% and see if that's in between, if it's in between the 10% of $4,200, and see if that 600 fits in between. 10% of 4,200 is actually 420. So I actually know I'm not going to be in between just because that top end is already too high. But if I do 5% of $4,200, it's $210. So because they're spending $600 a month on health care, the answer would be no, they are not within budget. Okay, does that make sense how we're going to figure out budgets today? Yeah, we're going to do ranges the whole time on almost every problem, so make